Okay, so my name's Jane Morse. I'm from Autism Hampshire's Information, Advice and Guidance Service. I've worked with children with additional needs, mainly children on the autistic spectrum, for 15 years prior to joining Autism Hampshire 6 years ago. And I've also got a 25-year-old son who's on the autistic spectrum and also has learning difficulties. As Jill said, my colleague Kathy Evans is also here today. So would you like to introduce yourself, Kathy?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Jane. Yeah, so my name's Kathy Evans and I've been employed by Autism Hampshire as a Information Advice and Guidance Officer for 6.5 years, I think it is nearly. I cover mainly the south east area of Hampshire and Portsmouth Authority. My background is SEN early years, and I managed SEN provision in Hampshire for 16 years. So that's just a little bit about me. So hello, everybody. And
Hi.
Thank you, Kathy. Okay, so we're an information advice and guidance service. So from that point of view, we support families and adults on the autistic spectrum. We support pre, during and post diagnosis, and we cover Southampton, Portsmouth and the whole of Hampshire. We run a helpline. It's open Monday to Thursday, 9 to 5, and 9 to 4:30 on a Friday. So that helpline is open to parents, adults, and professionals. So basically anybody can call us. We do get very busy. So if you can't get through, please do leave a message and we will get back to you. We know sometimes it can take quite a lot to pick up that phone, and it can be quite frustrating if you can't speak to somebody straight away. But if that's not possible, please do leave a message and say we'll get back to you. We receive referrals from both the child and the adult Southampton Autism Assessment Services following diagnosis. We also receive referrals from CAMS, schools, GPs and the community mental health teams. But you can also self-refer to our service. So again, anybody can kind of contact us at any time. So in terms of the post-diagnostic process, what is supposed to happen is that when a child receives a diagnosis, the parent signs a consent form for their details to be passed on to ourselves. We do know that parents have said that they've not heard from us following their child's diagnosis. You know, I have parents call up and ask if we've received their referral. If we receive a referral, we always respond. I mainly cover the Southampton area, so it's me that actually does it. I know what referrals come in. Obviously referrals, there's different routes. There's from the autism panel, different clinicians, and also the paediatrics team as well. So sometimes we don't get them through, but you know, if you haven't heard from us, then of course you can give us a call. So upon receipt of a referral, we will send an information pack with details of our service, so including information on autism, lists of all the support groups across Hampshire, our alert card and any training available at the time, which I'll go into a bit later. And we also offer an appointment. Under normal circumstances, which I find myself saying a lot, we'd normally offer a face-to-face appointment. We're based in Whiteley, but for Southampton residents, we have access to Shirley Library, Wolston Library and the Marland Centre to be able to meet with people. Obviously at the moment, we're not able to offer face-to-face appointments, so we are offering telephone appointments, or at the moment appointments via Microsoft Teams. So appointments normally for adults or parents to ask any questions about autism and to discuss any difficulties themselves or the child are having. We're not clinicians or counsellors. In terms of adults, sometimes they just want somebody to talk to who understands their difficulties. We then look at strategies and resources which may be able to help, and also look at what other support may be available, if there are any other specific agencies that may be or should be involved. I'm aware that, you know, we have been regarded in the past as a signposting service. And to be honest, I think probably 5 years ago, that was kind of our main role, what we did, but things have changed a huge amount in that time, in terms of sort of our training. So we are more able to, you know, give advice on strategies and understanding the autism. Obviously, we can't be experts in every area. And also, if there are experts in that area, we want all our clients to have the best possible service. So, for example, if it's an educational matter, we would probably signpost to Send IAS, because they are the experts in education. They've got the authority to call meetings with the school. They've got authority that if once they've called a meeting, strategies have been agreed, if those strategies aren't in place, they've got the authority to call the school out and find out why those strategies have not been implemented. And as a charity, we haven't got the authority to do that. Also, sort of in terms of things like DLA forms, the Citizens Advice Bureau in Southampton are actually commissioned to support people with the DLA forms. So it's not that we don't kind of want to help, it's just when there are experts in that field, we want you to say to get the best possible support in whatever area. So the appointments that we offer are also available to parents or adults who are awaiting assessment. As we all know, there's a massive waiting list across the board. So if any child's been put on the pathway for assessment, or if a parent has just got concerns and think the child may be on the autistic spectrum, then please give us a call. We used to have a brilliant relationship with the wonderful Family Navigator service, who supported families and helped them with the assessment process. So we used to link very closely with them, but unfortunately, that service has been closed. There's no time limit in terms of support once we've offered an appointment following diagnosis. We had a school contact us. We'd offered a family an appointment following their child's diagnosis a year ago, and they wanted to know if they could still take that offer of an appointment. So we know that so once you get the diagnosis, it can be quite a lot to take in, or sometimes at that particular time things may be going okay. As times change, particular sort of transitions, especially into adulthood, so you know, that offer of appointment is always open. In conjunction with our training department, we run autism workshops for Southampton parents. These are free workshops. There's normally 2 sessions twice a year. So we do a morning and an evening session of the courses, say that's offered twice throughout the year. We've purposely called these sessions autism workshops rather than parenting courses. Again, we're aware that prior to being put forward, for a child being put forward for assessment, parents can be sent on training courses and kind of made to feel that there's a problem with their parenting rather than their child's difficulties being acknowledged. So these are workshops where we're giving you information about autism so you can get a better understanding of your child's difficulties. They're interactive, they're really easygoing, you can ask questions, and also parents have benefited just from the contact with the other parents. We were very lucky on the last set that's just finished, because we had a parent who was on the autistic spectrum, which is absolutely brilliant. He could give his perspective, and also show other parents that although he'd had his difficulties, he was married with a child and he was in employment, which I think was just so powerful, as we've all got concerns about, you know, our children's future. You know, will they get a job? You know, will they get married? Obviously, we can't guarantee that on every session, but I just wanted to share that. So, so there's a morning session, which runs from 10 in the morning to 1 p.m. And then the evening sessions run from 6 to 9 p.m. There's 6 sessions that comprise of an introduction and then sessions on the different areas of differences. So we will cover thinking, communication, social interaction, and sensory perception. And then the final session is behaviour. So you can see how the areas of difference impact on the child's behaviour. Again, normally these sessions, they'll be run face-to-face from different venues in Southampton. In the past, we've used many schools, but currently these are being done via Microsoft Teams. We've got a few spaces left on the next set of courses, which actually start tomorrow, but there should be another 2 sets of workshops arranged for next year, which we'll obviously give you the details as soon as we have them. On Autism Hampshire's website, we've got lots of resources, including at the moment some COVID-specific resources. We also have some free e-learning, which again is open to anyone. That's sort of titled Autism, Developing Understanding and Implementing Practical Approaches. We have a try before you buy lending service for sensory items, a lending library. Unfortunately, they are on hold at the moment, but we're hoping to get those up and running fairly soon. And we also provide other resources such as visual supports, but we'll be talking about those in more depth when we meet on the 16th of December. We also have an autism alert programme. This was set up in conjunction with the police and the emergency services. So we've produced, there's an autism alert card. I can see it there. So the front of the card is attention, I'm on the autistic spectrum. Then on the back of the card is a space for the adult or child's name, and also room for 2 emergency contact details. So initially the card, it was set up for adults and adolescents should they come into contact with the police or the emergency services. So hopefully it would it would make them stop and think and consider how the person was responding to them, you know, whether if they were not making eye contact, there was a reason for that. It wasn't a indication of guilt, it's just that they're unable to make eye contact. And also hopefully to help them consider how they respond to that person. We have done quite a bit of training with the police, and things that, you know, a normal reaction if somebody was distressed. A police woman said that, you know, her normal reaction would be to put, you know, to put her, you know, her hand on or put her arm around that person to reassure them. But obviously, for a lot of people on the spectrum, that would be the worst thing that they could do. So say it was originally produced for adults or adolescents for that purpose, but also lots of parents have the card. So if they're out and about and the child's displaying certain behaviours, they can indicate that there is a problem rather than having to get into it with people. We also have an alert app for the phone. Currently, this is just for over 18s. So it's got the alert card on it, but also you can put more information on about that individual's own autistic profile and the difficulties they have in the different areas. There's also a section where they can input strategies and also a planner. During this time, we've also been issuing face mask exemption cards. They can be downloaded from our download page, but if somebody's unable to do that, we can issue them for you. Oh, really sorry, for some reason my battery's going to go. So as an organisation, Autism Hampshire also runs an employment, I'm so sorry, a consultancy service, an employment consultancy service scheme where we can go in and look at reasonable adjustments for employees. We have a university mentoring programme, also supported living and residential care. Is there anything that you'd like to add to that, Kathy?
No, I think you've covered everything, Jane. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. Has anybody got any questions?
Yeah, I've got a couple, if that's okay. You talked about how when you get the way you get the various referrals through, and that you always respond to them.
Yeah.
Parents that I've spoken to, because they are so used to sort of like sitting on waiting lists, and we all know, you know, the waiting lists that there are around for various things. They assume that they're still sat on a waiting list when they don't hear from you.
Yeah.
So I think we could do some work around getting that message across, that actually that the people that are referring, if their parent hasn't had a phone call from you within a certain amount of time, they should contact you.
Yeah, and maybe this is something that, you know, that the child sort of autism assessment service could
and CAMS, whoever
in their pack, because obviously if we don't know the information,
exactly, and the parent then
we don't know,
they're sitting on a waiting list. So they probably don't chase. I know people that have like left it like, you know, months and months. And
but as soon as we get so as soon as you get referral, we would send out an offer of an appointment.
So could there be just something to say, like, you know, that if you've not heard within a month, say, or whatever, you know, whatever your time scale is, that if so that the when they sign that form, that there is something on that form that says, if you've not heard from us within this, please contact us. It just might help stop those barriers, you know, that breakdown of communication.
I mean, does it almost be? Sorry, go on.
No, just I mean, also, I think what some paediatricians have done, is just given, that would be.
I just think if it's on the form,
because sometimes I think some paediatricians who might not be that au fait, they give the form to the parent. So that would be a brilliant idea. If we put there, if you've not,
it just might help pick up a few more, you know, that where you don't know of them, they're sat waiting, you know, it might sort of like, so that was one question.
That's a really good idea.
To that?
I was just going to ask, how long roughly is it from the time you get a referral until parents are likely to hear from you, just so we can set some sort of expectations for them?
It should be 5 days. 5 days.
Wow, super
quick.
Okay.
But again, and I am definitely not trying to what's the word? I'm not trying to deflect this sort of back to the service, but there is times when we've had a referral through that say was dated July, and we're in the middle of August. So I'm not.
No, absolutely. No, we know it happens.
Know how that happens.
But that's that sometimes happens as well. Other times it's straight away. I've rang a father up, and he said, "Give me a minute. I've not told my wife yet." So it depends on who's doing it as to what their process is of getting that referral through. But I will definitely get that put on the form and get that round the agencies. That's a really good idea, Andrew.
Because some referrals sent by post to us, but some use the NHS. We've got a Southampton has its own referral with us that's sent via our NHS account. So some are posted, and you know that creates sometimes a delay, doesn't it?
Of course.
No,
particularly at the moment.
It's great just to have an idea.
Pick up some that are, you know, that are maybe slipping through the net.
That's a brilliant idea. Thank you.
And
do that.
The other question I had was about university mentoring. You said so. I've got a a parent who's struggling with their young person is struggling at university in Southampton, do you have anybody like that links to you at the university that we can?
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't turn my. Let me just get. I didn't turn my phone on. Right. So, have they at the? I don't know. I can't get it off. Have they got a mentor at the university?
I'm not quite sure, but I know that there's a breakdown at the university and they need help. So my question was really, should they come to you or should they come to somebody? Is there somebody at the university who is there to support autistic students?
I think so how the mentoring scheme works. So anybody can have a mentor, not just through Autism Hampshire, that they apply for they apply for disabled students allowance, and then that allowance one of the things it can pay for is a mentor. Mm-hmm. It could also pay for brain in hand. It could possibly pay for computer equipment. So that is the route to get a mentor, because the mentor has to be funded.
Okay, if it wasn't a mentor, if it was like, I'm really looking for a link to the university for the students that are there, that are, I know of a couple that are there, that are struggling and feel that they're not getting the support that they need. I just wondered if you had any links with them. If you don't, that's okay. That's fine.
No, we have with Portsmouth University, because that's mainly where I'm mentoring, although they go elsewhere. But I would, the parents can contact us and we look into it for them.
Okay, that's lovely. Thank you.
Oh, you're going to say something, Kathy?
Yes, sorry. I've lost where I am. Sorry. Bear with. I'm not brilliant at this.
Don't worry.
We had a very similar inquiry. Now, I haven't got all the details about it at my fingertips, but if you could pass some details to us, Angie, I can find out, because I'm sure that there was further information, so I can let you know. I'll talk to Jane.
Okay, that's lovely. Anything would be really good. So I just thought while I had you, I would ask. So, right. That's my questions. Thank you.
Does anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask? I can't see you, so if you do, please do speak up. No? Okay. Can I ask something then? Do you have anything sort of specifically? We're getting a lot of issues with sort of children who are masking at school all day, and those might be those that are diagnosed or pre-diagnostic. And I think a lot of parents are struggling to get schools to kind of understand what the reality is, and schools just sort of don't seem to see it, especially with a lot of our autistic girls. So I just wondered if there was any sort of advice or places we could go to help parents sort of to send them so they can get to schools.
Yeah, well, one thing that we found quite useful that was given to us by an educational psychologist, there's the rather dramatically named document called Landscape of Fear. I don't know if you've crossed this at all.
No.
So there's versions for primary school, secondary school, and also college students. So what this does is you sit down with the child. I think the first bit is like, say, a map of the school, but then really the more important bit is looking at every aspect of the school day, putting your hand up, doing PE, lunch breaks. And then, so it's all these different areas, and then it's rating anxiety levels in that particular area. Now, obviously, for younger children, we suggest maybe happy or sad face stickers.
Sure, yeah.
So the purpose of this, because the school experience is, as we all know, is just so overwhelming. So the child has got all these anxieties, but sometimes it's quite difficult to articulate, or actually for them themselves to pinpoint exactly the areas that are stressed. So the point of this is that, yes, you would go through, highlight what particular areas the child finds difficult, and then take it to the school.
Okay.
And say, obviously my child appears well, but this is what they're saying to me. This worked really well in the secondary school. It was a boy, but he was the usual. He's fine. They had a look at it and they said, we all know all schools are different, but this particular school said we've got no idea. So they put some adjustments for him. But what was really good, as they went like a little step further, because he was in secondary school, they gave him a little laminated card.
Oh, brilliant.
Of the adjustments. So if he was allowed to leave the classroom 5 minutes early, let's say, and then, as we all know, then somebody goes, what are you doing? You shouldn't be here.
Mm-hmm.
He could pull his card out. I mean, we all know what, all in an ideal world, all teachers would know, but the reality isn't that.
Yeah.
So that has been really, a really useful.
I really like that idea.
To identify the issues.
Yeah, no, that's great. We'll be sharing that later. We'll invest. Can we find that? Do we just do a Google for that, or have you got that on your website?
It's not on our website. I could send it to you, Jill.
Yeah, that would be brilliant. Thank you. That would be really good.
It's another good thing to have in the toolbox, isn't it? Of trying different things, because we all know that different things work for different children, young people. And what works this week may not work next week, but at least it's another thing to have, isn't it?
Yeah. And it's really nice especially for those children that don't, show a lot of their issues at school and go under the radar often at school, but are really struggling. It would be really nice to have something that we can do. Do you ever go into schools and do sort of outreach support?
Not unless we're asked to.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Because, as I say, we haven't got the authority as a charity. Obviously, Sendias have, but we have to be asked to go in. I know this seems like a really small thing, and it's the masking is kind of a different thing. But another thing that we do sometimes suggest is that the parents ask the school for a timetable of the school week, and to have up at home. And then the purpose of this is to, we've got our little soldiers going off to battle.
Mm-hmm.
It's to try and break it down for them. So try and pick out something within that day that your child might actually like. Mm-hmm. It might be that it's pizza day and that's the only good thing about it. But what we're trying to do is to try and break it down a little bit. And then at the bottom of each school day, have whatever they need to de-escalate when they get home. So I'm off, but I've got pizza, and then when I get home I've got my Xbox, just to I've got that, it's just like a small visual, but it can help.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it's a really good idea. I like the idea of breaking it down as well and picking something out. Yes, I think I need to do more of that.
One thing I share with some parents is the Autism Education Trust's working with your child's school document.
Okay.
Because they're a brilliant resource, actually, really, really good. So it's a small pamphlet of information that a parent can use with the school to make sure that the school are sort of identifying what is generically needed for a child. I mean, it's not completely personalised, but you can make it quite personalised.
That sounds really good.
I've never heard of them before.
Oh, right. They do a lot of work with schools. A lot of Hampshire schools have bought in their programmes.
Oh, wow.
So I know Southampton hasn't, but a lot of Hampshire schools use it.
They will after Jill and Angie heard about it.
Yeah, so they've got toolkits for teachers, toolkits for parents. So they're quite a big organisation. I can certainly send.
Yeah, that would be really useful. Thank you. We like practical things that we can share and use.
Yeah.
It might be worth one day maybe thinking about having sort of a focus, one of these sort of meetings with a focus on schools and all the things you can do to help, and then sort of one on homes and issues. And definitely the sensory one is is something that certainly is a a big issue for a lot of our families. But that would be really good. Thank you. Right, I don't have any other questions. Anyone else have any questions they'd like to ask? I know it's very quiet this morning. It can be much busier, but you know, Wednesday morning.
People are a bit zoomed out. You know.
Yeah.
You get like Zoom fatigue, don't you?
Yes, we've certainly done a lot of Zooms over the last 8 months now. Yeah. But no, it's been. Sorry, go on.
Oh, sorry, just saying hello to Donna down there. Didn't realise.
Yeah, she's in the dark. Look, see.
In the dark.
Oh, is she?
I'm in Matthew's room.
Ah, see anyone.
These wonderful ladies had us at Autism group when he was 2 or 3.
Oh, really?
So yeah, they've grown up with us. Well, we've grown up with them.
Oh,
And vice versa.
Yeah.
that's really lovely.
Yes.
Have you seen the incredible shrinking Donna lately?
Oh, don't. You know what? It won't stop.
You look amazing.
Yeah, but I want it to stop now. I want to get to a certain size and stop, but God knows.
Yeah, you're amazing. You're an amazing
Thank
woman,
you.
Donna.
You really are.
What system are you using, Donna?
Stress.
Stress
No,
diet.
in lockdown.
It works quite well.
Yeah, it's 4.5 stone so far.
Well done.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing.
I know. Problem is though, I've got myself down to a comfortable size and clothing size, and now it's going again. And I've just replaced a pair of jeans that feel too big.
Oh.
I don't want to buy any clothes until I stop, and it's just finding something. Yeah.
Yes, no, absolutely.
So I think Emily's put a question in.
Yes, I've just seen that. Shall I read it out? It says, can I ask if there's any adult support after diagnosis for adults in Southampton and Hampshire area, support groups or anything? Also, I've heard that CBT isn't that helpful for those with autism. Is there any truth to that? Oh, we've got a couple of phone calls. So, Jane, are you able to answer that about, Emily's only recently joined us, so she might have missed some of the chat at the beginning about adult support after diagnosis and groups for adults in Southampton or Hampshire.
So, yes, the same system operates children as it does for adults. So we can offer adults appointments, telephone support if they are not comfortable using either of those methods. We can correspond by email. Again, under normal circumstances, we have our serendipity groups, which are groups for adults on the autistic spectrum. So we've got quite a few of those in Southampton and across Hampshire. They are not obviously not running at the moment. We can take people's emails and then send them information. There's like a serendipity group sort of magazine now. There's Facebook groups for people who have not yet been able to attend a group. So yeah, there's say kind of similar service for adults, really.
That sounds great. I know, Emily, you were mentioning CBT. Certainly in our experience, it has really helped with some aspects of my son and his autism. I don't know what other people's experiences are about it working.
Same with Christopher. He's just had a long period of, they did modify it to make it easier for him to understand. And, you know, as a direct result of that, he's not self-harming at the moment. So that's really good.
That's brilliant.
I think that's the most important bit there is the fact that they modify it. So the true CBT model wouldn't be effective for an autistic way of thinking, but if it's modified, then it can work.
I heard that DBT for autistics has a better success rate.
Yeah. Which is, they use it as well within the emotional coping skills workshops that some of the mental teams run, which is based on the DBT model. So yeah, that has a better chance of suiting an autistic thinking, I think. Yeah, definitely.
That's really interesting. Thank you. I think we also had a comment from Monica asking how she can get a telephone appointment. That they had Autism Hampshire information pack, quite, well, 3 years ago, but they didn't take up the appointment. So can I refer Monica, or can she complete one of the referral forms? I know we've got access to the referral forms now.
Or she could just she can give us a call.
Yeah.
Our numbers, it's 02380 766 162.
Okay.
And if she has to speak to myself, because I mainly cover this Southampton area, or I don't know if you've got pen, Monica, but or my email is Jane, just JANE .morse MORSE at Autism Hampshire, all lowercase or one word, .org.uk.